names, tell their stories, and stop state-sanctioned violence. Last week in Minneapolis, a 37-year-old American mother, Renee Good, was killed by an ICE agent. It was caught on video for the world to see. And almost immediately, the lies began. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said that Renee Good posed an imminent threat, even floating the words domestic terrorism. But the facts don't back this up. Eyewitnesses don't back this up. The video doesn't back up the lies repeated by DHS immediately after the killing. State and law enforcement in Minnesota have been blocked from the vehicle where Renee was killed because the FBI sealed it off, blocking transparency and accountability. Renee Good's murder is not an isolated incident. In my community, we know this pattern all too well. In September, Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, a father of two, was killed by ICE on the side of a road in my district after dropping off his kids at school. And right on cue, we got the same script. Immediate vague allegations by DHS. Lies instead of facts. No transparency, no accountability, no respect for the family left behind. There's also Marimar Martinez, another constituent. An ICE agent shot her 5 times and then arrested her. ICE leveled serious criminal accusations to justify it. And later, quietly, those charges were dropped. Why? Because they were lies, but the damage was done. Her name was dragged through the mud. Her family was terrorized. Her community is still shaken. This is how a teacher in our community was victimized. And it didn't stop there. Juan Espinosa Martinez, also from my district, was accused of serious conspiracy to commit crimes that never happened. ICE made them up, publicly smeared his name. Those charges were dropped as well because they were false. No apology, no discipline, no consequences. ICE acts first and then lies. The lie sets the frame. The truth is forced to play defense. In 2025, Republicans gave ICE $75 billion, a nearly 300% increase in its annual budget, at the same time that they stripped millions of Americans of their health care. And now Republicans want to give ICE and Border Patrol even more money. We're asked to fund an agency that does the following: sends masked agents into communities like my neighborhood to use loaded guns and tear gas against our neighbors. It arrests people without warrants. It engages in obscene racial profiling and discrimination that communities see clearly, even when Washington looks away. It stops members of Congress from inspecting detention centers, which is their duty as a co-equal branch of government. These facts should outrage every member of this House. If you believe in the rule of law, you should be furious. If you believe in congressional oversight, you should be furious. If you believe that federal agencies should not lie to justify violence, you should be furious. Because when an agency lies to the public, lies to the courts, and lies to Congress, they're spitting in our faces. This is not about being for or against immigration enforcement. This is about whether we tolerate violence followed by cover-ups.
Gentleman's
this is
time has
about
expired.
whether or not we accept fabricated charges as a means of intimidation.
The gentleman's time has expired.
I yield back.
The gentleman yields. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Texas, Ms. De La Cruz, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to honor McAllen native firefighter Sergeant John Air Daniel Marin. Sergeant Marin's life is defined by answering the call to service. At 18, he joined the U.S. Army Reserve. By 19, he was a certified Texas firefighter. From overseas operations to the front lines of our own southern border in Eagle Pass, Texas, Sergeant Marin has selflessly protected our great country. His leadership is exceptional. Out of 25,000 troops, Sergeant Marin was one of only 13 selected to be honored by President Trump in the Oval Office this past December, where he received the new Mexican Border Defense Medal. Today, he continues to protect his community as a firefighter for the city of Mission. Sergeant Marin, we congratulate you on this recognition and thank you for your unwavering service to South Texas and our nation. I rise today to honor Sergeant Estela Rodriguez of the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office on her retirement after 32 years of service. For over 3 decades, Sergeant Rodriguez has not only been a dedicated member of law enforcement, but also a mentor and a leader. Through her work to create the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office Women's Empowerment Conference, she opened doors for the next generation of female officers, instilling confidence in the women who will follow in her footsteps. Her legacy is not just the badge worn, but the countless officers who stand taller today because of her. Sergeant Rodriguez, you leave behind a department and a community that are better because of your work. We thank you for 32 years of selfless service, and we wish you a long and well-deserved retirement. Mr. Speaker, today I rise to congratulate the UTRGV Vaqueros for finishing their inaugural season with 9 wins, including all 7 home games, making the Vaqueros the winningest first-year program in football championship series history. The team proved that the Rio Grande Valley is a football powerhouse. Every home game, fans across the valley showed up to cheer on their team, selling out all 7 home games and ranking top 15 for attendance among FCS teams across the nation. To the players, the coaches, and the fans, congratulations on a great season that put UTRGV football on the map and gave the Valley a legacy that will not be forgotten. We are already looking forward to the next season. V's up. Thank you. I yield.
The gentlewoman yields. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. Kennedy, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today in grief and in outrage over the killing of an American citizen at the hands of the United States government. Her name was Renee Nicole Good. She was the mother of 3, a devout Christian, a poet, a partner, a compassionate neighbor. She was a woman whose love for her community was only rivaled by the love she had for her children. Those children will never hear their mother's voice again, feel her embrace, or have her by their side as they grow into adulthood. That's the human cost of what happened in Minnesota last week. Renee Good's life was taken by a federal agency emboldened by this administration. Donald Trump and Kristi Noem have created an immigration and customs enforcement agency with no oversight, no chain of command, no standards, and no restraint. They've created a lawless culture with no accountability and a mother being shot at point-blank range is the consequence. That's not law enforcement. It's violence. The Department of Homeland Security was created to protect the American people and defend our nation against terror. Under Secretary Noem, it's become a source of terror for the American people themselves. From pepper spraying children to deploying armed masked agents into neighborhood raids with zero oversight, ICE has become a rogue agency operating above the law. This did not happen by accident. This administration made a deliberate choice. And now, because of it, a U.S. citizen is dead. And she's not the only one. Rather than investing in our communities, they're turning them into war zones. This is about failed leadership at the very top. Kristi Noem took an oath to defend and support the Constitution of the United States, an oath she has violated time and time again. She's obstructed Congress, defied federal court orders, violated due process by detaining and deporting American citizens, and directed unconstitutional ICE operations using militarized agents in American cities. Conduct that culminated in the killing of Renee Nicole Good. Renee should be alive today. Her children should still have their mother. Her wife should still have her spouse. The American people deserve to know exactly what happened, why it happened, and how we ensure it never happens again. But this administration, whose own policies and actions helped create these conditions, cannot be trusted to investigate itself impartially. That's why there must be a full, independent, and transparent process that results in justice for Renee and accountability for those in power who allowed this to happen. Anyone who presides over the killing of American citizens and turns a department meant to protect us into a force of terror does not deserve to remain in office. Secretary Kristi Noem must resign immediately, or she must be impeached. Justice is not optional. Accountability is not negotiable, and silence is complicity. I yield back.
The gentleman yields. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Thompson, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to highlight the Pennsylvania Farm Show, which kicked off this past weekend. For 110 years, farmers have met each January at the Farm Show in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. The event is the largest indoor agricultural exposition in the country, featuring nearly 5,000 animals, more than 250 commercial exhibits, and welcomes more than 500,000 visitors each year. The Farm Show is a great event for all ages and features many educational booths, helping children learn about the ag industry. One of the most popular attractions at the Pennsylvania Farm Show is the food court. Here, visitors can enjoy various food that features commodities grown in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. This year's Farm Show theme, Growing a Nation, is particularly fitting as we celebrate 250 years since our founding fathers signed the Declaration of Independence. For generations, American farmers have not only fed this country, they've helped to feed the world, and they've done so by continuously adapting and embracing new tools, technologies, and practices. The success of U.S. agriculture has been built through the ingenuity, hard work, and the strategic application of science and technology. I was proud to help open the 110th Farm Show on Saturday. It is always an honor to meet farmers from across the Commonwealth and learn about how they continue to ensure agriculture remains Pennsylvania's #1 industry. It was particularly encouraging to see many young and inspiring farmers making it clear that the next generation is ready to take charge and lead the industry. I hosted my annual listening session where I was able to take questions directly from producers and consumers. The crowd also included county commissioners, Farm Bureau leaders, state senators, representatives from Penn State, Delaware Valley, as well as lots of 4-H'ers, dairy princesses, and FFA members. As the House Agriculture Committee prepares to craft the Farm Bill 2.0, it is crucial to hear directly from the men and women who feed their communities and this nation. I was glad to be joined by my fellow Pennsylvanians, Congressman Rob Bresnahan and Dan Muser. I was also proud to have Russell Redding, Pennsylvania Secretary of Agriculture, and Dr. Troy Ott, Dean of Penn State's College of Agriculture Science, on the panel. This year, we celebrated passage of my bill, the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act, which will be soon signed into law and brings back the option of whole milk and 2% milk, including flavor, to our schools' meal programs. Dairy farmers from across the Commonwealth championed the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act, and I want to thank them for their support for this common sense bill. Mr. Speaker, the Pennsylvania Farm Show has grown exponentially since it began over 100 years ago, a direct reflection of how our country's ag industry has grown. It was an honor to attend the Farm Show this year, and I thank all those who worked tirelessly to make this incredible event possible. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back the balance of my.
The gentleman yields. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. Latimer, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I want to celebrate the 20th anniversary of MyRide.com under the editorship of Jay Sears for its service as an online chronicler of the life and the times of the Rye community. In addition to an active business career and family obligations, Jay Sears somehow finds the time and energy to attend and report on community comings and goings of the people and the organizations in Rye. The high school sports scene, boys and girls sports, are well documented with photos and stories of the athletes as well as scores of the game. My Rye has regular features such as Rye GPT People of Note, the celebrities who live here or have a connection to Rye, a platform to feature the nonprofits of Rye, the Rye YMCA, the Rye Arts Center, the Rye Nature Center, Historical Society, and the Rye Free Reading Room, amongst so many others. He also highlights the inevitably sad news when a longtime Rye neighbor passes away for a final salute. From the floor of the House of Representatives, thank you, Jay Sears and MyRide.com. Mr. Speaker, permit me a shout out to the many volunteer environmental activists in the village of Ardsley who work tirelessly to advance good environmental policy. Two groups meet monthly to plan and implement efforts to make Ardsley greener and cleaner in air, water, and land resources, the Ardsley Green Task Force and the Ardsley Pollinator Pathway Committee. In attending Zoom meetings, I've seen the energy and dedication of these volunteers, and with the strong voice of Dr. Carol Summerfield, they are making a difference in their community of 4,500 residents. From the floor of the House of Representatives, thanks for backing up your commitment to the environment with hard work. Mr. Speaker, I want to salute the work of Dr. Oloruntoba Iduyemi Lacrown, who's president of the African American Association of Co-op City, and the members of that organization as they prepare to celebrate the dream of Dr. Martin Luther King this coming Monday, January 19th, at the Church of New Vision in the Einstein Loop North of Co-op City in the Bronx. We all know him as Toba, and he and this organization have sponsored important cultural events that unite the African American population in shared moments of pride. Aside from honoring the legacy of Dr. King this weekend, the organization held a recent December celebration of Kwanzaa that drew a crowd to the Bartow Meeting Hall. Toba's leadership has been on display in many forms. As a United States Air Force veteran who served in Afghanistan and later headed the American Legion post in Co-op City, as a former NYPD police officer and later as leader of the 47th Precinct Community Council, active in Bronx Community Board 12 and the Wakefield Taxpayers Alliance. The legacy of Dr. King is carried down to this day by Toba and all those who gather this weekend who, in the words of Dr. King, are judged and appreciated not merely by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. From the floor of House of the Representatives, we salute Toba Lacrown and the African American Association of Co-op City. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields. The chair now recognizes the gentlewoman from Oklahoma, Ms. Bice, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand before you, along with my colleague, Representative Keith Self of Texas' 3rd Congressional District, to honor Colonel Chuck de Bellevue, United States Air Force retired, an American patriot whose extraordinary courage, leadership, and lifetime of service reflect the highest ideals of our nation and the United States Air Force. On September 9, 1972, then Captain de Bellevue and his F-4 Phantom II crewmate, Captain John Madden, shot down 2 North Vietnamese MiG-19s. These victories marked de Bellevue's 5th and 6th aerial kills, making him the highest-scoring American ace of the Vietnam War. Over the course of his career, Colonel de Bellevue flew 220 combat missions, including 96 over North Vietnam. He is credited with the destruction of 6 North Vietnamese jet fighters in aerial combat, making him America's leading ace of that conflict and the last American ace to serve on active duty. His actions in combat remain among the most distinguished examples of aerial valor in the United States military history. His decorations include the Air Force Cross, the service's second highest award for valor, along with 3 Silver Stars, 3 Legions of Merit, 6 Distinguished Flying Crosses, and 18 Air Medals. Colonel de Bellevue earned a Bachelor's of Science degree in physics from the University of Southwestern Louisiana and was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force. Following undergraduate navigator training and an initial assignment flying the F-4 Phantom II at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, North Carolina, he was deployed to Southeast Asia, joining the 555th Tactical Fighter Squadron at Udorn Royal Thai Air Base, Thailand. Following his combat tour, Colonel de Bellevue attended undergraduate pilot training and became a full-fledged F-4 pilot. He subsequently served with distinction in multiple fighter squadrons, including the 335th Tactical Fighter Squadron at Seymour Johnson, the 8th Tactical Fighter Squadron at Homeland Air Force Base, New Mexico, and the 43rd Tactical Fighter Squadron at Elmendorf Air Base, Alaska. His staff assignments included service at the Pentagon, Alaska Air Command, and the 5th Air Force. After his promotion to colonel in 1985, he attended the Army War College and held senior leadership positions across the Air Force. In his final active duty assignment, he was commander of Air Force ROTC Detachment 440 at the University of Missouri-Columbia, where he continued to shape and mentor future officers. Colonel de Bellevue is a command pilot with more than 3,000 flying hours, including over 550 in combat. In 1972, he and the other Vietnam War aces were awarded the McKay Trophy and the Veterans of Foreign Wars Armed Forces Award. He retired from active duty February 1st of 1998 after 30 years of honorable service. Following his retirement from the Air Force, Colonel de Bellevue continued his commitment to service through the work in the aerospace industry, higher education, and veterans advocacy. I am proud to say he currently resides in Oklahoma's 5th Congressional District, which I represent. He serves on the boards of the Dale K. Graham Veterans Foundation and the Air Warrior Courage Foundation, and is president of the American Fighter Aces Association. In 2023, he was honored as a River Rat of the Year and named the Air Warrior Courage Foundation Humanitarian of the Year. Colonel de Bellevue's lifetime of service has been recognized with numerous honors, including selection as Outstanding Alumnus of the University of Louisiana in 2008, introduction to the Louisiana Aviation Hall of Fame in 2011, and the Oklahoma Military Hall of Fame in 2012. And in 2014, he was the recipient of the Congressional Gold Medal as a member of the American Fighter Aces. Colonel de Bellevue and his wife Sally have raised a family grounded in service, integrity, and love of country. Mr. Speaker, Colonel Charles Chuck de Bellevue represents the very best of the United States Air Force and of those Americans who have answered our nation's call with uncommon valor and lifelong dedication. It is fitting that his service and legacy be entered into the congressional record so that future generations may know and be inspired by his example. And with that, we yield.
The gentlewoman yields. The chair now recognizes the gentlewoman from Ohio, Ms. Sykes, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I often say that while my name was on the ballot, we are all going to Congress together. And families in Ohio's 13th congressional district and all across the country are telling us that housing costs are rising faster than wages, making it hard to keep a roof over their heads. So today I rise to bring an issue that plagues my community and the entire country, which is the rising cost of housing. In my district alone, over 100,000 households rent their homes. The median renter household income is just above $40,000 a year, yet the median rent is more than $1,000 a month. That means housing costs are often the largest part of a monthly budget, and this is even before groceries, childcare, or healthcare. But it's not just homeowners who are feeling the squeeze. Renters who are feeling the squeeze. Homeowners are feeling the squeeze too. The median home value in Ohio's 13th district is about $228,000, which may sound modest compared to national prices, especially those of you on the coast. But property taxes, insurance, utilities, and repairs add up fast. And with aging homes and data centers driving up the cost of utilities, people are feeling the crunch. For families with a mortgage, monthly housing costs average nearly $1,500, and even those who have paid off their mortgage face rising property taxes and repair costs that strain household budgets. For families trying to buy their first home, the challenge is steeper because mortgage rates may have dipped below 6%, but high prices and limited inventory keep home ownership out of reach for many in my district. And we cannot ignore the inequities baked into the system. In Ohio's 13th district, the home ownership rate overall is nearly 69%, but for Black families, it drops to just 37%, nearly half. That gap reflects generations of barriers we still have a responsibility to address, like redlining and restrictive covenants. For some families, rising costs lead to housing instability or homelessness. That's why last November I pressed the Department of Housing and Urban Development to protect federal funding and homelessness prevention programs in Summit and Stark counties. These continuum of care dollars support nearly 2,700 beds in my district for families, veterans, and young people who need a safe place to sleep. Any cut could disrupt services that people depend on, and most importantly, keep them without a roof over their head. We also have to confront the root causes of this crisis. Large corporate investors are buying up single-family homes, driving up prices and rents, and locking families out of home ownership. That's why last summer I introduced the Homes Act, which cracks down on investors buying 50 or more single-family homes, shines a light on corporate ownership and rental practices, and makes sure local families, not profit-seeking investors, get first access to home ownership. People simply cannot compete with these for-profit corporations, and every family deserves a place to call home. And just last week, President Trump acknowledged the same problem and called on Congress to address it. On this issue, it seems we may finally all be reading on the same page, and I encourage my colleagues to support the Homes Act and see its swift passage. But we also need to build homes, too. Supply simply has not met the demand. That's why I secured federal funding for the East Akron Neighborhood Development Corporation to help expand affordable housing, revitalize neighborhoods, and create jobs. Increasing supply is essential if we want housing prices to come down. As chair of the New Dems Coalition Affordable Housing Task Force, I helped develop a housing action plan with more than 20 recommendations to increase housing supply, reform zoning and permitting, strengthening federal incentives, grow the construction workforce, and improve transparency. Mr. Speaker, housing is the foundation of opportunity. Homeownership is the primary way in which families build wealth. And when housing is affordable and stable, family can plan, save, and build a future. When it is not, life becomes harder. Rents are too high. Mortgages are still out of reach for far too many families. Property taxes and repairs are stretching household budgets, and homelessness programs that protect our most vulnerable neighbors must be preserved. Mr. Speaker, we have to get serious about housing and focus our attention on lowering the cost of housing and keeping housing accessible to everyone. The American dream depends on it. Every family deserves a safe and affordable place to call home, and this House has a responsibility to help make that possible. And until housing costs come down, Congress has a lot more work to do. I look forward to working with this body on behalf of my constituents and across the country to work to reduce housing costs so everyone can live their American dream wherever they choose to call home. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back.
The gentlewoman yields. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. Lawler, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize and thank someone whose impact on my office and on me personally cannot be overstated. My Chief of Staff, Nate Soul, as he concludes his service to New York's 17th Congressional District. When I first ran for the State Assembly in 2020, before there was a congressional office or a seat in this chamber, Nate took a leap of faith and helped build a campaign from the ground up. Together, we delivered a victory many said was impossible, defeating an incumbent in a district with a 2-to-1 Democrat enrollment advantage. That race was the foundation for everything that has followed. In Albany, Nate served as my chief of staff and helped lead one of the most active offices in the state assembly. Our team delivered real results for the Hudson Valley and built a reputation for being accessible, responsive, and relentless when it came to constituent services. When I was elected to Congress, Nate once again stepped up, first as Deputy Chief of Staff and Communications Director, and now as my Chief of Staff. Through every transition, he's brought discipline, sound judgment, and an unwavering commitment to the people we serve. Nate understands that public service is not about titles or headlines. It is about doing the work, telling the truth, and delivering for the people who sent us here. His counsel has been steady and measured, his loyalty unwavering, and above all, his friendship cherished. Through Nate's vision, his hard work, and his invaluable leadership, our office has not only been more effective, but has set a standard for what public service can and should be. I have no doubt that he will bring the same integrity and dedication as he embarks on a new chapter. And Doina and I wish Nate and his wife Lauren the very best. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor the life of Anthony Tony DeFisciani, who passed away peacefully on December 23, 2025. Born and raised in Haverstraw, Tony was a proud New Yorker, attending Haverstraw High School and participating in the marching band, where he was voted the most musical in his senior year. Following graduation, Tony enlisted in the United States Navy and proudly served during the Korean War. He was awarded the Bronze Star after more than 30 years of service. Returning home, Tony worked at Bear Mountain, Letterly Laboratories, and New York Telephone, Verizon, retiring after 30 years of professional service. He also gave back to his community as a volunteer firefighter with the Haverstraw Fire Department Relief Hose Company No. 3 for 60 years, serving as fire chief. Tony was an avid gardener and fisherman, built his own boat, and ran Rainbow Gardens, known locally for its tomatoes. A devoted husband, father, grandfather, and great-grandfather, he shared 66 wonderful years of marriage with his beloved wife, Joan, and together they raised 6 children. He cherished every moment with his family and community and will be deeply missed. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor the life of Theodore Ted the Great Schultz, who passed away peacefully on January 10th, surrounded by his family. Born in Nyack, Ted was raised on his grandfather's farm in Pomona and attended Spring Valley High School, where he earned the rank of Eagle Scout. A talented athlete, he wrestled and played football, earning the nickname Tank, and went on to attend Illinois Wesleyan University, where he played football for 4 years and later earned his MBA from Washington University. It was at Illinois Wesleyan that Ted met his wife, Carol, and they settled in Pearl River, New York, where they raised their children, Tracy and Craig, before later moving to Stony Point. Ted built a remarkable career at Ted Schultz Auto Sales, relocating the dealership to Nanuet and growing it into a nationally ranked Ford dealership while earning numerous President's Awards. Beyond work, Ted enjoyed time with friends, boating on the Hudson River, and spending time with his grandchildren. His legacy lives on through the lessons he passed on to his family, his friends, and the many lives he touched. May you rest in peace. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize the S.W. Johnson Fire Department in Rockland County on an incredible milestone of 150 years of dedicated service to our community. Since its formation in 1876, S.W. Johnson has been 100% volunteer, embodying selflessness, courage, and a commitment to protecting our neighbors. One of the department's most treasured pieces of history is its steamer, a button manufactured in 1896 by the company that would become American La France. This remarkable piece of equipment reflects the rich legacy and enduring dedication of S.W. Johnson and the fire service today. To many firefighters who have given their time and bravery to this firehouse over the years, on behalf of New York's 17th Congressional District, thank you. Congratulations to S.W. Johnson on 150 years of dedicated service. Your commitment, bravery, and volunteer spirit are an inspiration to us all. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
The gentleman yields. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Weber, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to honor the courage and selfless service of Officer William Epperson of the Oyster Creek Police Department. Mr. Speaker, on the night of November 17, 2025, Officer Epperson responded to a house fire with 2 residents trapped inside. heavy smoke was pouring from the home, and the living area was only accessible by an exterior stairwell. When the front door was locked and conditions were too dangerous to enter, Officer Everson did not give up. Hearing calls for help, he broke a smoke-filled window and pulled a woman to safety. He then returned to assist her husband, who had limited mobility, helping him also escape the burning home. Officer Epperson then ensured no one else was inside and went door to door warning the nearby neighbors, all while suffering smoke inhalation himself. Mr. Speaker, without Officer Epperson's bravery, lives would have been lost that night. His actions reflect the very best of law enforcement and the very best of Texas. God bless Officer Epperson. Mr. Speaker, today we honor a leader whose service has left a lasting mark on the Texas coast and on the safety of millions of Texans. I'm speaking about Lieutenant Colonel Ian O'Sullivan, who has been instrumental in advancing the Texas Coastal Project, what folks back home call the Ike Dike. Under his leadership at the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Galveston District, this project moved from concept toward construction. Just recently, the House included $5 million to advance pre-construction engineering and design for the Ike Dike. That funding moves the project forward, Mr. Speaker, as it heads to the Senate and supports a comprehensive coastal resiliency strategy that protects lives, it restores ecosystems, and strengthens our economy. Those numbers only happen, Mr. Speaker, because of leaders like Mr. O'Sullivan, leaders who understand the mission, discipline, and follow through on what they promised. From combat deployments overseas to mega projects right here at home, he has served with honor and excellence. On behalf of the people of Southeast Texas, thank you, Lieutenant Colonel, for your leadership, your service, and your commitment to protecting our coast. God bless you, Lieutenant Colonel O'Sullivan, and may your next chapter be as impactful as the one you leave behind. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
The gentleman yields. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Arizona, Mr. Siscomani, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to congratulate Catalina Foothills boys swim team for winning the D2 state championship. The Falcons finished with a total score of 386, with senior Connor Daggett winning gold. The team finished first in 3 races: the 200-meter medley with Nicholas Dismore, Matthew Murray, Ariston Elsesser, and Connor Daggett finishing with a time of 1:39.89. The 50-meter freestyle with Connor Daggett finishing with a time of 21:42. And the 200-meter freestyle with Nicholas Dismore, Aiden Kastner, Ariston Elsesser, and Connor Daggett finishing with a time of 1:30.831. In addition to finishing first in multiple races, the Falcons also placed in the top 5 for several others. To Coach Ed Walter, the whole team, and everyone who made this win possible, congratulations. Your hard work has made your school and our community extremely proud. Falcons, enjoy your victory. You earned it. Congratulations again. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to congratulate Tanque Verde High School boys swim team for winning the D3 state championship. The Hawks finished with a total score of 257, placing first in the 200-meter freestyle relay and in the top 5 for multiple other events, including the 200-meter medley relay and 400 freestyle relay. The team's time of 1:31.81 on the 200-meter freestyle relay won them first place, with a team made up of Jackson Aftakert, Grayson Thaw, Wade Olson, and Zachary Derkop. To Coach Porter Olstad, the whole team, and everyone who made this win possible, congratulations. Your hard work has made your school and our community extremely proud. Hawks, enjoy your victory. You earned it. Here is to another successful season and many, many more. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to congratulate Cienega High School's marching band on winning the inaugural Arizona Marching Band Southern Region Championship. The Bobcats broke the program's record for the highest score in a regular season show. They also brought home the highest score in music performance, visual performance, general effect, and percussion performance. Congratulations, too, on coming in as state silver medalist at the Arizona Marching Band Association State Championship. Through the long hours of hard work and dedication, the Bobcats achieved this outstanding accomplishment. To Director Reed Bailey and members of the band and all parents and staff that made this win possible, congratulations. You have made your school and our community very, very proud. Bobcats, enjoy this victory. You earned it. Congratulations on yet another successful season. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
The gentleman yields back the balance of his time. Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the chair declares the House in recess until noon today.